Hey, what's up, guys? It's Andrew from travelingguitarist.com. Today I'm going to teach you about what scales flamenco style guitar players use. So I'm just going to tell you right now what they are. They are the Phrygian Dominant, the Phrygian Mode, and the Harmonic Minor scale. So the Phrygian Dominant is actually a mode of the Harmonic Minor scale, and the Phrygian Mode is the third mode of the major scale. So in case you don't know about this stuff, a lot of this stuff, it seems confusing. Like when you're hearing about all these scales, there's so many of them, and it all sounds so confusing and kind of overwhelming at times. But if you want to know the truth, it's really not. Because if you just think of Western music theory this way, specifically harmony, like harmonic music theory, really it's all just an extension of the major scale. Like everything is kind of based on the major scale. And if it's not based on the major scale, it's compared directly in contrast to the major scale. So for instance, once you know the major scale, and then if you take it the next step further and you know all the modes, you memorize the mode shapes, that's really all you really need to know from there. From there, you can kind of you can figure out the rest of them without racking your brain and feeling like you have to memorize all these different patterns and whatnot. I'm just looking at my battery right now because I'm gonna run out probably. But anyway, so the Harmonic Minor scale, it looks a lot like this. Essentially what it is it's the natural minor scale with a raised seventh, and that's all it is. And the natural minor scale, in case you don't know, it's just the sixth degree of the major scale. So really it's kind of, the harmonic minor is just two steps removed from the major scale. It's just the Aeolian mode with a raised seventh, or Aeolian, aka the natural minor scale. So it sounds something like this. Now, granted, I'm not a flamenco style guitar player and I don't practice fingerstyle, so I'm just telling you that right now. But it sounds like this, a harmonic minor. So that's a harmonic minor, and that's what it is. You'll notice right away when you play that, it kind of has that flamenco style vibe to it, right? So that's what it is, and that's how it sounds. Now, I would take it another step further. If you're ready to move on with all this stuff, if you're ready to learn more, I would take the time to learn the modes of the harmonic minor scale, and they're the following. It's Locrian flat 6, Ionian sharp 5, Dorian sharp 4, Phrygian flat 3rd, Lydian sharp 2, and altered 7, altered double flat 7 to be more specific. The Phrygian flat 3rd is the Phrygian Dominant. So that's one of the scales that I mentioned earlier. So this is why it's handy to know about the modes and to know how to play each mode, and more specifically the mode shape, because if you've been watching any of my other videos or reading my articles, you know that a mode it's not really a shape. It's like a musical context in which notes are played. That's what a mode is. So if you play the notes of C major over a D minor chord, the D minor chord is the second mode of C major, and the second mode is Dorian. So when you play the notes of C major over a D minor, that's going to create a Dorian sound. So that's what a mode is. It's a musical context. However, if you take your time and you learn the mode shapes, then you have a standard by which to compare other scales. So for instance, you look at this and you go, okay, well, a Locrian flat 6. Well, the Locrian mode is the seventh mode of the major scale, right? So if you think of the Locrian and then you go, okay, so what's that look like on the guitar? Oh, it's a Locrian flat 6. So that's just the sixth note is just raised by 1, right? So anyway, we'll talk more about that in a minute. So this is what the Locrian mode looks like. This is just a B Locrian, which is the seventh mode of C major. So it's like this. So if you think, okay, so what's the raised sixth? So now we're switching over to the mode of the harmonic minor. Well, that's just this. This is what it's going to look like. See how the sixth note is raised? So it's going to sound a lot different. It's going to sound harmonic minor. So it's, it's really not too confusing, but you'll notice that sounds harmonic minor as well, because it is. It's one of the modes of harmonic minor, but it's a slightly different tonality due to the tonal center of it has changed. Anyway, moving on. So as I said before, the Phrygian Dominant, it's actually the fifth mode of the harmonic minor scale. So it's also called the Phrygian flat third. So the Phrygian Dominant is just the Phrygian scale, when the Phrygian mode, or the Phrygian scale is the third mode of the major scale. However, so if knowing that, you just think of the Phrygian and then you flat the third. So what that's going to look like is this. So that's the Phrygian flat third, the Phrygian Dominant. So you notice that also has the flamenco style. They all sound like that. And then finally you have the Phrygian mode, and as I said before, the Phrygian mode is the third mode of the major scale. So all these modes and scales are all related because they're all in some way related to the major scale. They're all just different ways of looking at the major scale, frankly. You're just changing notes around, and that's what they are. So the Phrygian mode is the third mode of the major scale. So that sounds like this. And that's the third one. So as I was saying before, you can read more about this in the article. All the modes and all the scales, they're just based on the foundational scale of Western music theory, which is the major scale. So if you really want to learn this stuff, just learn the major scale, learn the 7 mode shapes: Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, Mixolydian, Aeolian, and Locrian. And then you could learn the harmonic minor scale. And then if you just learn the modes of that, and then you're good, man. And then you'll know so much from that, and it's going to take you maybe a month to learn that. It's so useful. Frankly, I haven't memorized the harmonic minor modes as well as I know the other regular modes, but I will be doing that sometime in the future. Anyway, so some other tips for sounding more flamenco is to use one of these, a nylon string guitar. That's going to make a big difference. It's going to give you that flavor that you want. Oh my God, this guitar is filthy. I haven't played it in a while, that's why. And then another thing is you want to be finger style. If you want to check out a great flamenco style player, I don't know how to say his name. I think it's Paco de Lucia. He's probably the most notorious flamenco style guitar player and probably one of the best to ever live, one of the best to ever do it. It's definitely worth checking that guy out. Yeah, he's dope because he can play the instrument in a way where it's like it sounds like there's 3 guitars at once, and he's extraordinarily fast with finger style, which is really quite impressive, because I can't do that like finger style like that. No way, man. I use a pick. But anyway, I think that's all for this video. I hope this was helpful to you, and I'll see you in the next one. All right, peace.